it's always good, isn't it, to get different insights into the game, and obviously listen to people's opinions on football and their career paths, and the ups and downs of the game, so to speak. It's tough. It's a tough industry, as you well know. So I think it's great what you're doing. Alex, fire away, mate. Any questions you've got? Fire away.
Right, I guess the first one, sort of like just a brief introduction to yourself. Where were you during your playing career, and sort of what led you out into Dubai and to start your own academy?
So I've obviously been in the game for quite a long time, even more so now. I've just hit 40. But yeah, I was picked up as an 8-year-old playing just for my local town, really. Loved the game, loved being active, and just played for Flixton, which is my local town. And then at the time, really, there was a few scouts knocking around, coming to games, and it was actually Brian Kidd, who you might have heard of. He was obviously a legend at Man U, won a European Cup. He came and watched us. I was only 8 at the time, and invited me to the Centre of Excellence, and then it sort of just progressed from there, really. I managed to sort of go for a little trial, and then it was season on season training up at the Cliff twice a week. Not too serious, just training on a Tuesday and Thursday, having loads of fun. It was Brian Kidd, Paul McGuinness, Nobby Styles, Jim Ryan, absolute legends of the game, really good coaches, but they made it fun as well. I think that was the most important thing. We were doing with a little bit of drills, but mainly little in-house games between us, little 5-side tournaments. It was really, really good times. And then once it gets to sort of under 14, it gets a little bit more serious. I signed schoolboys until 16, and then I was a little bit of a late developer, actually. I was there were 50-50 on whether to sign me as a YTS, and I had to go through a 6-week trial, which sounds crazy, really, because I was at United, but they weren't quite sure. We had a really good age group, and they were going to keep on a lot of the lads in my age group, and they had a really good left back as well, who was competing against. But anyway, luckily I did quite well in those 6 weeks, and they took a gamble, and that's when I really started to progress. Sort of second year YT, when I was 17, I really started to grow a little bit, physically develop better. And I was then playing in the youth team, and that's a good indication whether you're going to be getting a pro contract. If you're starting in the youth cup, usually you're doing quite well. Got to 18, signed a 1-year deal, and again, looking ahead, it was quite a tough pathway for me, because you had Danny Higginbottom, who was in the reserves, John Curtis, and they were pretty much on the brink of the first team, but also playing reserves. So I was thinking to myself, I'm actually going to progress here, because the reserves was full. And luckily I went on loan to Royal Antwerp, which is the feeder club for Man U. Went over and played in Belgium, did really well, got promoted, went out there with Luke Chadwick, and we got promoted in our first season, played every game, and was rewarded with a 3-year contract. So that was really good in terms of progression for me. Playing reserve football, you're playing in front of 500 people, whereas Antwerp, you actually play in front of 15,000-20,000 every week, and it means more. Nice. 18/19, it's a great experience, and it's livelihoods at stake. You're not just playing for in front of a few hundred people. There's actually people's livelihoods at stake. There's money, win bonuses, all that sort of stuff. It's real life stuff. So made me grow up very quickly. Unfortunately, during this time, I had a really bad injury. It was a groin injury, and the physios at Man U weren't quite sure what to do. So I had like a couple of operations, a hernia, and then I went to see this guy in Leeds, and eventually I was cured. But I would say probably 18 months into my 3-year deal was when I got back playing. Wasn't the same player, lost a bit of pace, just lost that little edge. And obviously they've got to bring players through as well. So then I went on to, I finished my career at United 22, 23, and then went on to Blackpool, played a season there, did well. It was a similar sort of story, did well in the first sort of 6 months, then got injured. Then a new manager came in, brought in his own staff, his own players. And then I had a year out. Then I was struggling again with another injury. I had a year out, played non-league for Altrincham, which I really enjoyed in the conference. And then I was approached again by Royal Antwerp to go and have a second spell there. So I was sort of 26, 27 at the time, and it was like sort of last chance saloon really to go and play pro football. So I went over there, a great experience, played with the likes of Johnny Evans, Danny Simpson, Fraser Campbell, all those boys, because they were all on loan, Darryl Gibson as well. And had, again, really good first season, but the body just couldn't keep it going. It was just going to be reoccurring injuries. So at 28, that was me done. I had a hip operation at 28, and then the specialist just said, look, you won't be able to play pro football, training every day, twice a day. You can look at maybe going back part-time, but professional football is going to be, out of the question. So I basically decided to follow the wife over to Dubai, and been here ever since, really. So I've been here 12 years and started to, I really love the game, and obviously I feel like I've got the experience to pass on a lot of what I was taught as a player at United and at other clubs. So I decided to set up my coaching academy in 2013.
7 years ago, yeah, I remember that all being set up, and time's flown by since then.
This is our 8th year, so we've just marked it the 8th year. Yeah, so I mean, really enjoying it. Love working with the kids, day in, day out, trying to improve them, trying to get them to the next level. Also, I think it's important that you try and improve the kids who were just there for, not just for fun, but just trying to make small steps in the game. They're not trying to make it pro, but you're trying to improve them as well. It's kind of all inclusive, really, academy for boys and girls. And I'm very passionate about the girls' academy as well, because I think when you were there was a girl called Georgia Gibson. Does that ring any bells?
Yeah, she at Sunderland still.
Newcastle now.
Newcastle, okay. Did she do the switch from Sunderland to Newcastle?
She did. She did.
Controversial.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is a little bit. And she's a Sunderland fan as well. No, sorry, she's a Newcastle fan. Get that wrong. But I wanted to give the girls the same opportunity as the boys, really, because that was something that was lacking in Dubai. I think the boys were getting great opportunities. It was all sort of male orientated, and then the girls weren't getting the same training. And obviously we've been successful, which we can go into a little bit more in detail with the girls' academy as well, with girls that have gone on from GoPro to go either to the States or the UK. So that's a big passion of mine.
Going back to your sort of like playing career, did you have like one specific moment that sort of like stands out as just like your favorite moment, your biggest moment?
Can I mention two?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think as a left back, it's always got to be a goal, hasn't it, that you've scored in an important game? Because I didn't score many. One was for Antwerp when I was there first time round. I was 19. We played Cercle Bruges in the stadium, Club Bruges Stadium, so 40,000 seat stadium. It wasn't full, but it was great atmosphere, and we were going for the league title to get promoted. And we were 1-0 down with about 15 minutes to go, and I managed to nick a goal, basically. I played a little 1-2 and scored. And it's that feeling, isn't it, of scoring your first professional goal. Really proud moment for me. And plus I was, quite young at the time. I'm not expected to score those sort of goals. It was that was probably one of my favourite moments from that age. And then I would have to say, once I got a little bit older, we played my debut for Blackpool was against Wickham, and it was my home debut. So I was quite nervous before the game. It was my first game at Bloomfield Road, and again managed to get the winner. We were 2-0 down against Wickham, and we won 3-2, and I got the winner. So that was in 2003. So those two are my probably favourite moments. You don't really know. I mean, you might be able to see it on YouTube, the goal, but I didn't know how to celebrate, and that was the lads were taking the mick out of me because I was in pretty much shock. I think they were as well because it was with my right foot. So I'd probably go with those two really as my biggest moments in football, just scoring in really important games as a fullback, um, as one of my highlights, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely it's those sort of moments that you remember. You never remember sort of like the goal saving challenge just as much. You sort of the rare occasions of sort of like your fullback scoring a goal is always sticking in your mind.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah.
So to go to the other end of the spectrum and like your hardest moment, would that have to be like the injuries and sort of like going through all of those?
Yeah, I think it was the rehab in the gym at Man U, and you going through it all, and you know the big one was seeing your teammates playing for the first team as well. And
Mm,
as much as you were happy for them to do it, because this is bearing in mind, Alex, where the gaffer Fergie used to, the first team were that good. They used to qualify for the Champions League within the first three games. They'd win the first three stroke four games, get the 10 points, and then they'd play the sort of the youth team really in some of the European games. So a lot of my teammates played in. I was supposed to play. Well, I would have been, I think, eligible to play for it. Was Deportivo away in the Champions League.
yeah,
So a lot of my sort of teammates played in that, and it was. Don't get me wrong, it was amazing for them, but for me, watching at home, thinking, you know, these guys are playing in the Champions League here for Man United,
mm,
and I'd been playing with them in the youth team or the reserves 6 months before. So that was to sort of add insult to injury, really, that I was injured. I was in a dark place just because I, I didn't know what the injury was. The physios didn't know what it was either, but also watching my teammates play Champions League football. Also, the gaffer would also give us a run in the Carling Cup. So the lads got a game against Arsenal and Villa in the Carling Cup as well.
mm,
Again, it just gets your name out there, doesn't it? If you play, you know, just playing one game for Man United is huge, isn't it?
yeah.
And it's something I've always dreamed of as a kid, and that was taken away really from me at the age of 19, where I thought, you know, I was doing quite well, and people were talking about me in the newspapers that I was going to be the next sort of left back coming through.
Yeah,
So I'd probably say that was my toughest moment in football. Yeah, not having that Alex Ferguson team talk before a game and going out at Old Trafford and
yeah.
playing in
Did you
front of.
get to interact with Alex Ferguson at any point, or like coming through the ranks? Did you have a lot of
Yeah,
like interactions with him?
he was unbelievable. I mean, you probably heard it from everybody else, but I'm just repeating it. He knew everybody's name, your parents' name. He knew what position you were. And this is from the age of 12, 13 coming through. And this would never happen again. But he used to watch our B team game on a Saturday at Littleton Road, around the
Yeah,
corner from the cliff. He'd come in his suit. We'd kick off at 11 o'clock. He'd watch us probably till 60, 70 minutes in. And then he'd shoot off to Old Trafford for the first team game. I mean, it was relentless. You know, his attitude towards the club and wanting to know how you're doing, and you know, no, he knew how you're progressing. He knew everything about you, which was unbelievable. You know, for a
yeah,
manager to sacrifice and do so much. You know, and I think that inspired you as a player, that you wanted to play for him and wanted to impress him
mm,
when he used to come and watch. So I think that, I mean, again, I don't think that would ever happen again in our lifetime, but it was just something that the gaffer used to do on a regular basis.
yeah. And like you said there, sort of, I can imagine, you know, somebody puts that much time into like coming and watching you play, getting to know who you are, who your family is. Um, I can't imagine just sort of like gives you that extra effort in training or something like that, or in a match. You know, you want to like impress and work your hardest. I think, you know, like you said, everybody sort of like echoes it the same. Um, but yeah, what a guy he was. Just even from the outside looking in, can't imagine what it is like for um, being on the inside of that and seeing it all firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's the most successful manager of all time for me, just because of, you know, those points. He knew he treat you know, the staff at the club, the dinner ladies, the cleaners, all the same.
Mm.
You know, and he was just fantastic with everybody, to be honest with you. But also, he didn't want to be on the wrong side of him either,
Yeah,
because we couple of times in the youth team when we were a bit unlucky really. We played my first year Blackburn as a YT. They had a very good team. They got to the final in the third round. They knocked us out. He wasn't too happy after that game. And then my second year we played Everton, who won it the year after. Sorry, no, they Blackburn won it, and then Everton got to the final, got beat off West Ham. But we had really tough draws in the third round. We needed a sort of easy win just to get used to playing the Youth Cup, because obviously it's a big deal. You're playing at Old Trafford or Goodison when we played, or Ewood Park at Blackburn. And we needed sort of an easy team to play really, just to get our foot in the door. And we had tough draws, but we did experience the hairdryer a couple of times after the game.
So would you say Sir Alex is the sort of one person that had the biggest influence or during your time at Man United, or was there somebody else who like personally had like a big influence on you and sort of like your game?
Do you know what? There was so many. You had, I mean, from a younger age, it was Tony Whelan, Paul McGuinness, fantastic with me. You know, just the way they coached you and the way they sort of taught you the Man United way. And then I'd probably say the best coach I've had technically was Neil Bailey, who runs the PFA courses for the Northwest. He was tough. He was a tough coach, and I'm good friends with him now actually. But he was he could tell you what minute that you did this wrong or you should have done this, and just little things would trigger you as a player that would stick in your head. And I think that's the ideal coach really, that can make you play to that high standard, but also make you think about what you need to do to improve as a player. And he was unbelievable at it. His attention to detail is really, really good. So I'd probably say Neil Bailey. And then also a little bit later on in my career would be Warren Joyce, because I had him as a 16-year-old and also at Royal Antwerp. He was great to play under.
Yeah.
Funny, enthusiastic, loved the training, loved the banter. I think everyone loved Warren. He was a fantastic guy.
Yeah, it's funny. I can literally, I obviously don't know them personally, but I've played that Football Manager where they're sort of like the coaches that you can hire, and you know,
Okay.
All of them are sort of like the names that you'd look at if you had a good club to sort of like try to bring in. They sound like great people. I guess the next sort of question that I had was with youth football and sort of like coming through the ranks. I know you sort of go to the Man United training ground every now and again. Have you seen it evolve quite a bit since when you were playing and coming through? What's it like today? What's your sort of like thoughts on it today?
It's a difficult one. I have been into Man U a few times since, and I think the academy system's a lot different to what it was when I was playing. It was a little bit more relaxed. I think it has to be how it is now because there's so many clubs trying to get that one top player through into the academy early, and everyone's fighting for those players. So, you know, as daft as it sounds, some academy players now are getting picked up at 6 and 7 years of age. I personally feel that it's too young. They should be just having fun until the age of 12, and that's when it becomes a little bit more serious. They should be still allowed to play with the mates, you know, with the grassroots clubs and stuff like that. But I think they're allowed to be signed now at 9 at a professional club, and I do think that's too early.
Yeah.
I think they need to have that fun element, because what will happen to 90% of them, or even a larger percent, 99% of them will get released at 12, 13, 14 and fall out of love of the game. I think they need to enjoy it more first and keep it more fun. And then obviously as they progress to get 13, 14, that's when that was the way I was coached. At 12, 13, it was still fun. You know, there was no pressure at all. You just enjoyed it. You weren't worried about contracts and all that sort of stuff, or not being able to perform, or not being able to play this formation, or you know, it was just all go and enjoy yourself, express yourself. And I think that's been lost a little bit, just because it's a big business now. I mean, it's huge, isn't it? And the game, the Premier League, and also there's a lot of foreigners now coming into it as well. So there's less opportunities for English players coming through because a lot of clubs are buying young. And I mean, you only need to look at all the top clubs' youth teams are full of foreigners now, which is, it has to be that way just because there's that much competition. But I do feel sorry for local lads who are coming through that may not get the opportunity because they've bought someone from abroad.
Yeah, it is crazy that it sort of like goes all the way down into that sort of level. And like you said, like at that age, you gotta really enjoy it because I know you guys go to like the Gothia Cup now in the summer when it's on, obviously. But like experiences like that when I was growing up and being able to go to like the Gothia Cup, a couple of competitions in Wales, like that was what it is all about. Those are sort of like the favourite memories. And
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because once you're in the club, you feel like, as a kid, you think you're going to make it, don't you? Let's be honest. If you're at Man United or Man City at 9 or 10 years of age, you think this is me, this now, until I'm going to be in the first team. Whereas, we all know how difficult it is. And I think it's also parenting is really important. I think if the parents are putting pressure on the child and getting the hopes up and not living their life through the child, but just saying, it's a great opportunity for you, this, you need to do this, you need to do that. It should just be, listen, you're getting great coaching, go and enjoy it. The chances of you making it are very slim, but just enjoy this experience because not many people get to train at Carrington and play for Man United and pull that shirt on. That needs to be the approach from the parents.
Yeah, absolutely. With starting like your own academy and having like the parents there, do you have to sort of like manage that expectation? Because obviously you've got people like Georgia who've gone on to play at like Sunderland. I know you've had like a couple of other players go and join youth academies in the UK. Is that something that you have to sort of get them on your side and get them like understanding that it is a difficult thing and sort of like having fun's the most important part at that age?
Yeah, I think it's a balance, isn't it? I think, to be honest with you, our parents are great, and we will always say that if they've showed the right attitude, if the child's got the right attitude and works hard, then we'll give them the opportunity. I think that's the biggest thing from our side. If they're late to training or they're not working hard in training, or they're sulking if they're not playing, you've got to tick all the boxes to become, either a professional, go to the States. So we'll give them the tools, and then it's up to them to take that opportunity. And in terms of the parents, I mean, I'd probably say if the child in Dubai is not out of here by the age of 13, 14, then it's going to be very difficult to get an academy in the UK, just because the competition and the academies are going to rather keep a player that they've had for 6-7 years than release someone from a player from Dubai. So you've got to be extra special, I think, to make it in the UK. So we're pushing more the option to go to the States, where you can combine the education with the football. The route that you've taken, Kieran's taken, I think it's an amazing route. And also, there's no reason why, if you do well over there, then you can't either come back to the UK and play at a high level or go into MLS. So it's a win-win, after those 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you have you seen Jack Harrison playing for Leeds and obviously Man City?
Yeah.
He took that route. I think he was quite young when he went across to the US, went to like a boarding school as well.
Was it Berkeley? Did he go to Berkeley?
He was at Wake Forest, I think.
Oh, was he? Right, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it just shows like if you're good enough, there's no reason why you can't get into the MLS and then sort of get back over through the back door with the States there. So and at the same time you're getting a top class education at some of those schools. So it's a great place.
And I think some parents and children don't really realise how good the level is in the States. I've been over a few times, and D1, D2, even D3 is a really high level. It just depends which conference you're in or which area you're coming from. But I was shocked when I went over. When I first went over 8, 9 years ago, when I went to Shadowk and saw the stand, and I was wow. I thought,
Yeah,
yes, they'll be athletes and they'll be fit, but they probably won't be able to play that much. They probably won't be as technical. And I was shocked at the level out there. Really good level, high intensity. You've got to be fit. You've got to be technical. You've got to understand the game. So, and it's only getting better in the
mm,
States. So, I do think that it's a great option for our kids, boys and girls, and that's a route that we really are pushing.
yeah, definitely. What's been your favorite moment? Setting up GoPro and the academy. What's been your favorite moment of it all? If you've had one sort of like pick out.
Um, oh, there's loads. I'm just trying to think. It's very difficult to narrow one down, really. I mean, for me, you feel that great feeling when one of your players goes on to do something in the game. You know, probably our most successful player is Mackenzie, who's at Everton now. He's got a 3-year pro at Everton. He's playing for their under 23s. We obviously, I think Dodie and Oliver that went to Man City. There's Kieran. I would probably say, yeah, more on a personal note. I think winning trophies is great, the Super Cups and all those things. But for me, improving someone individually, taking a player in and then nurturing them and getting them mentally ready, and then them taking it on board and getting a contract or going to America, I think that's the biggest accolade that we've got at the academy is that pathway.
Yeah,
I think it beats any trophy that you can win, because you're actually changing someone's life. You're actually altering their life, something that they probably didn't think they could do, and you're giving them the opportunity to do it as long as they put the work in.
yeah.
So I think players going on to achieve something would be, my biggest highlight.
And then I know you bring over sort of like quite a few sort of high profile coaches. You had like the likes of Dennis Irwin, Teddy Sheringham, John Barnes over. And when I was last out, do you think that's something that, well, why is that important? Why do you like to sort of bring out like the likes of them, and what sort of impact does it have on like the kids? And I could probably guess, but just from in your own words.
Well, I think it's important that they see the play, they see the ex pro come out and put on a session or have a talk with them and sort of motivate them to get to the next level. And we had Teddy in 2 weeks ago, and he put you might have seen it on our social media, put on a striker session for our under 16s players, and they absolutely loved it. And the way he delivered it was brilliant. He was passionate, and he was just a little sort of little hints that he's got, and those little bits that he's been coached with. He was passing on that knowledge, and the kids were straight away were absolutely buzzing. They're asking questions after the session. What does it take to become a professional footballer? And they're not just hearing it from me; they're hearing it from players who have gone on to win trebles, Champions Leagues, League Cups, FA Cups, who have been highly successful. And I think it's really important that the kids get a little bit of a taste of that, because hopefully now after that session they'll think, okay, right, I need to work a little bit harder at this, or I need to do this, or if I want to be a striker, I need to make me run like this, and just pass it. Just having that ex-professional pass on that knowledge is, for me, is priceless, and it's something that we do often because I think it's important for our students to experience it.
Yeah, I feel like when I was living out in Dubai, you don't often see professional footballers. You can't really go to a Premier League game. So from my point of view, when I came to see you, what was it, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now, I saw Teddy Sheringham in goal, in goal on the beach when all the kids are sort of playing outfield, and wasn't too happy about it. It definitely sort of humanizes it and shows you that they are a real person. So yeah, I think what you're doing out in Dubai is like great, and glad to see it's going so well. But yeah, that's all my questions that I've got for you now. Yeah, cheers for helping me out, and I'll send you over a link once it's all.
No problem at all, Alex. It's an absolute pleasure, and it's been great to see. Also, on a personal note for you, obviously I coached you back in Dubai, and it's great to see you've sort of kicked on as well and gone down the uni route. And it also makes me feel very old as well. That you, what age are you now? Mid 22?
25. So getting on a bit.
You're 25 now.
Yeah.
That's scary. That is really scary.
The next time I'm over, definitely take you up on that round of golf, and we'll have a beer at some point.
Certainly will, Alex. Yeah, great to speak to you. Send my love to your parents as well.